What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trey back with another video. This will be an arc review. This was sent to me by one of my subs, one of my most common subs that I always comment. Kenny, thank you for this article. This is an article from Men's Health. Training to failure builds, what did it say? Builds muscle? Yeah, basically builds muscle, but not strength. So we're finna get into this. So y'all already know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button. Sub if you haven't already. Please leave a comment, tell me what you think. Hit the notification bell for all future uploads and share this with anybody who might be interested in hearing something about this. So without further ado, let's get into this article. All right, here's the article. Oh, this, I don't know if I said Men's Health already, but I probably did, but I probably didn't. I don't know. Yes, this article is from Men's Health, and you know how I'm a big advocate for men's health, rather physically, mentally. I know I don't mention spiritually at all, but it's important, and socially. And well, mentally, psychologically, it's both the same. But anyway, here it is. Research says training failure builds size but not strength. So I want to see what this article say before I say anything, before I give my 2 cents on this. So let's get to this article. As hardcore as it may look, train to failure and push yourself to the point of turning purple, it may not be necessary as we once thought for seeing progress. Previous results has confirmed that for muscular growth, it's the proximity we work short of failure that matters, rather than the consistently training to the point of failing. But how does training close to failure affect strength gains? A new meta-analysis set out to uncover this further support a relationship between muscle growth and training close to failure. This is the only thing I'm gonna say before I finish reading all this. If you don't know what meta-analysis is, a meta-analysis is basically a study that puts together a whole bunch of numerous similar studies with each other, and they basically point out what's similar between each of those studies they collected, what's the similar points, the similar limitations, did they get similar results, and all that. That's basically what a meta-analysis is. All right, on to the analysis. Published in Sports Medicine, the meta-analysis aimed to investigate the relationship between estimated proximal to failure, reps in reserve, which I advocate for. I do reps in reserve, doing resistance training with two main focuses: strength gains and muscle hypertrophy. Yep, there go my mispronunciation monster. Reps in reserve means how many reps we have left in the tank at the end of each set. I always leave one rep in reserve. You can read our guide to reps in reserve and the RPE scale. Basically, the rate of RPE means rate of perceived exertion. The rate of perceived exertion. It's a scale that used to be 6 to 20, but they think the modern now is 1 to 10 now. Finally, 0 to 10. The meta-analysis reviewed a total of 240 studies, like I said, a whole bunch of studies that are similar to each other, and aimed to clarify whether proximity to failure affects strength gains and muscle hypertrophy different. Did they mess up that time? The studies used in the meta-analysis included different populations, training durations, and methodologies to increase robustness. The meta-analysis found strength gains are minimally impacted by how close sets are taken to failure. The analysis consistently showed no significant association between estimated reps in reserve and improvements in strength hypertrophy. Muscle hypertrophy tends to increase as sets finish closer to failure. The results show that muscle hypertrophy decreases linearly as participants train further away from failure, which means you don't do as many reps as possible. Say, like if you're heavy lifting, you know you can do 12 reps, but you only do 6 for the rep. That's what it means. That's the best way I can put it. Wait, I thought it was something else, just damn advertisement. The meta-analysis concluded that strength gains increase independence of how close sets are taken to failure. This indicates that factors other than proximity to failure, such as intensity of the load used, which means how heavy it is, basically. For example, 1 rep max percentage play an important role in improving strength. Studies highlighted in the meta-analysis indicate that as low intensity increases, the proximity to failure necessarily decreases. This aligns with the principle of that heavier weights recruit more motor units and contribute to more strength gains. On the other hand, there are clear improvements from training closer to failure for muscle hypertrophy. This is likely due to training closer to failure generating increased mechanical tension on muscle fibers, which are key determinant of muscle growth. What does this mean for us? A review published by the Journal of Sport and Health Science. It was established that muscle growth can occur while working to failure, but instead working within close proximity to failure, and similar increases in muscle strength and size occur between the two methods. Pushing ourselves 0 to 5 reps short of failure is a sweet spot when it comes to muscle growth. Like I said, I keep 1 rep in reserve. While previous research has shown that training to failure won't hurt your gains, but it will still grow your muscle. But the risk of injury and overuse does increase as you lift beyond your capabilities. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm waiting till I make my other comments. And if we see the benefit for training close to failure rather than to it, then it's worth reaping the benefits without the downsides. However, if you want to seal the deal, training failure will get the job done for muscle growth. Conversely, for strength, it's more important to focus on heavier loads, however, not working to failure. It makes sense from the standpoint that training failure can be very demanding on the body. Yes, it can. And more difficult to recover from the following sets. With other evidence showing strength improvements from working close to failure, it's safe to assume that aiming for 3 to 5 reps short of failure is a sweet spot for strength training, while also mitigating risk. Ultimately, from this meta-analysis, we could assume that we can use a range of different programming methods individualized for our own needs in order to achieve different training goals, perhaps further encouragement. Now, to sweat small stuff in terms of the perfect rep, set ranges instead of focus on training hard with intensity, close to failure, see results. And that's the end of the article. All right, now my comments about this article. Even though I said a few things while I was reading it, I always do keep at least 1 or 2 reps, preferably 1 rep in reserve between each set, because I am training close to failure. That's just how I am. But I don't like training failure, because like even the article says training failure, the increased risk of injury is like, it's actually multiplied by like 3 or 4 times. You got higher risk of injury training failure than just saving a couple reps in reserve. So that's one thing, especially for somebody who don't have a spotter when I'm always lifting. Yeah, it's good to save a rep or 2 in reserve for sure. But of course, don't ego lift in the process like some people do. But because here's the thing, when I read articles like this and it's based off of actual study, like a meta-analysis, and sometimes most studies, they can point you in the right direction, but some things you have to take it with a grain of salt. You gotta have some things to doubt. Not everything is truly 100% conclusive, because some things work differently for each and everybody. But from a general standpoint, yes, it is better. Which is why, for me, of course, I want to gain muscle, but at the same time, since I was in cardio, my muscle growth ain't gonna be as big since I'm half and half of my cardio and my resistance training. I do resistance training a little bit more than cardio, but still. So it's good to always keep a rep in reserve. If you want to train to failure, it's better to train failure with a lower weight than with a much higher weight. Say like, if your max benching was 350, if you want to train to failure, you're going to train to failure, do it at maybe around 225, 250. Train to failure at that weight range. But don't train to failure when you're like at 300, 310. No, don't do that. Those, you should always keep a rep in reserve. That's my opinion anyway. And with the few clients I work with, I do that with them and actually show wonders for them. Like I said, everything's a little different. So I pretty much, but still for the most part for this article, I do agree with most of it. I really do. But like I said, so yeah, in a way, it's kind of like pick your poison basically. You either train by keeping a rep in reserve, or you train to failure. You can do both. I mean, training to failure also improves your strength endurance. Yes, there's such thing as strength endurance if you have never heard of it. So training failure does help with that. So, but anyway, I think that's pretty much all I got to say on this. I think this is actually a pretty good article. More men need to work out, get stronger. That's how we are. We are the heavy lifters in the society, and we are underappreciated for it. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it on a note right here. If you made this far, go ahead and hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Sub if you haven't already. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the article or my comments on it. Hit that notification bell for future uploads, and share this with anybody who would like to watch this video, interested in this article, etc. Anyway, until then, I catch you on the flip side. Y'all have a good one, and peace.